In the quiet, dry lands of 1880s Nevada, a scared native woman needs a safe place for just one night. A quiet rancher treats her better than she thought he would, but being sad makes her ask a hard question. Can she trust him? Or is he like the others who hurt her? Join this touching Wild West story. Please like, subscribe, and follow along. Let's start. The edge of the 1880s Nevada town was hard and cold when the sun went down. The cold air moved over the open ground. It went through the big bushes and down the empty road where Naya, a young native woman, stood alone. She held her arms tight around her body. She was trying to keep warm. Every wagon that went by slowed down just a little. The people stared at her. Some whispered and looked away. They acted like talking to her was bad luck. Others looked at her with no trust or with hate. She had been walking for many days. She used her old skills to stay alive, but she was getting weak as the sun went down behind the hills. The night was going to be hard. It would be colder than the last one. Her legs shook because she was so tired. Hunger hurt her stomach, but she kept her chin up. She did not want to look weak, even though she was very scared inside. She had lived through bad nights and bad men before, but this night felt strange. It was too quiet. It felt unsafe. She looked at the road, hoping to find a place to hide. Then she heard horses coming. Her body got stiff. A rider alone often meant trouble. She was afraid to run away. She had nowhere to go. So she stood still, ready for anything. The rider slowed down as he got close. The lamp on his horse showed a big, strong rancher. He had dust on his coat and looked tired. He didn't stare at her like the other people did. He just looked at her with a calm, worried look. It was the look a man has when he sees someone in pain but isn't sure if he should help. His horse stopped on its own. It knew the man wanted to stop. Naya moved a little. She was ready to run if he came too fast, but he didn't. The rancher got off his horse slowly. He held his hands up to show peace. His voice was steady and soft. "Good evening, miss. You look very cold. You need a warm place for the night." The truth in his voice shocked her more than the offer. Most men she met never helped without wanting something back. She looked at his face for lies. She only saw a quiet, honest face. He told her his name softly. "I'm Caleb Vance. I have a ranch near here. You can sleep in the barn if you need to." The barn, not the house. This told her he knew the rules. He would not cross the line. Naya waited. She remembered fake kindness from before. She remembered voices that promised safety, but then took it away. She pulled her wrap tighter. She was not sure if this man was different, but the night wind got colder. It felt like a knife cutting her skin. She looked past him at the sky. No fires, no movement, no way out. Her body shook. Finally, she nodded her head just a little. Caleb stepped back right away. He let her move first. That one step back helped her fear a little bit. A bad man would have stepped closer, not away. The barn stood quietly behind Caleb's small house. The wood glowed under the light. Inside it was warm from the horses. The soft sound of hay made the place feel nice. Caleb put a blanket on a clean pile of straw. He put a small lamp next to it. Then he got a metal cup. He filled it with fresh water from the pump outside. He put it near her. He moved slowly and carefully. He never rushed. He never forced anything. Naya watched him closely. She saw that he stayed far away, even in the small room. He went outside quickly. "You are safe here tonight," he said. His voice came gently through the door. "I will be in the house if you need anything." Then he closed the door. She was alone with the horses and the soft light. Naya stood still for a moment. She listened for footsteps coming back. She heard none. Slowly she sat on the blanket. She touched the cloth. It was warm and soft. She didn't understand why a stranger would help her like this. That doubt felt heavy on her chest. The fire in the stove made the barn warm. Naya breathed a bit easier, but her eyes stayed open and sharp. She drank the water slowly. She thought it might be a trick, but it was clean and cold. She thought about the road. She thought about how long she had walked. She thought about how many times she thought she would die alone. For the first time in a long time, her fear went away a little. Tiredness took over. She lay back on the hay.
She listened to the horses breathing. She hoped their peace would help her sleep. Sleep did not come easy. Every sound made her jump. The barn doors moving, a wild dog crying far away, the hay moving under her. But slowly, her heart beat slower. She remembered Caleb's gentle voice. She remembered he stepped back. He did not crowd her. She thought about the worry in his eyes. It was a look she had not seen in a long time. It scared her to feel comfortable. Comfort usually meant danger was hiding. But tonight, the fire warmed her bones. She couldn't fight it. When she finally slept, she had one last tired thought. No kindness is free. Every man she met wanted something. Land, work, or something else. But as she fell asleep, a quiet voice inside her spoke up. It was a voice she almost forgot. It said, "Not every stranger wants to hurt you." She didn't believe it fully, but she believed it enough to relax a little. For the first time in months, she slept without fear. The fire warmed her back. The horses moved softly next to her. Her heart said there might be a price for this, but deep down, she hoped she might be wrong. The morning sun shone over the big Nevada sky. The ground looked gold. Naya walked out of the barn. She still had Caleb's blanket on her shoulders. It was warm. She wasn't used to waking up warm. For months, she lived on fear and gut feelings. She stayed away from people in towns. She stayed away from promises that always had a cost. But now she watched Caleb working quietly with his horses. She felt strange. He expected nothing. No questions, no pressure, no demands. That made her heart beat fast with a new kind of fear. Caleb stood with his back to her. He was brushing a horse with slow, steady strokes. He moved calmly. He seemed like a man who liked silence.
Naya looked at him carefully. She tried to see if he was hiding something. Most men couldn't hide their plans. A night of safety was rarely just safety. A warm fire usually needed payment, and kindness was something that always had strings attached. She walked closer. The frozen dirt crunched under her feet. She wasn't sure how close she could stand. Her voice sounded tight. "You gave me safety for the night." The words hung in the cold air. They were sharp and shaking. Caleb paused. He did not turn around. He let the horse touch his shoulder. Then he brushed her neck again. Naya swallowed hard. She asked the question that hurt her. "But will you still keep your word this morning?" Her past made her ask this. Broken deals, broken trust, broken promises. She expected him to get mad or show a trick. Most men showed their true colors fast. Instead, Caleb turned slowly. He looked surprised that she asked. His eyes were not sad for her. They showed he understood. "Miss," he said quietly, "I don't give my word for no reason." He took off his hat. He ran a hand through his brown hair. He said, "You are free to stay. You can rest, or you can leave. No one here owns you. Not last night, not now." His voice was plain but strong. It was just the truth. Naya felt confused. Men rarely spoke like that. They didn't speak with truth. They always wanted something back. She took a step closer. She looked at his face for lies. She looked for a twitch in his eye or a tight jaw. She looked for greed. She knew how to read people to stay alive, but she only found quiet peace in Caleb. It made her feel more off balance than danger did. "Why?" she asked. Caleb blinked. He was confused. "Why? What? Why help me if you don't want a prize?" Her voice broke. She hated sounding weak. Caleb leaned on the fence. He looked at the hills. "Because it was cold last night," he answered simply. "Because you looked tired. Because sometimes doing the right thing doesn't need a big reason." Naya shook her head slowly. She didn't understand. How could a man say that and not want payment? Kindness was a trap where she came from. The idea that someone could give it freely felt like a fairy tale. Beautiful, but not real. She waited for the trap. A soft wind blew her hair. She lowered the blanket. Her heart fought. One part said run. The other part whispered that maybe not every man was greedy. Caleb kept feeding the horses. He didn't look at her too long. He didn't come into her space. That unsettled her. Most men looked too long. Finally, she let out a breath. "You don't know me," she said. "You don't know the trouble I have." Caleb shrugged. "Then trouble can rest too." Everyone deserves a place to breathe. His words were very gentle. It felt like a blanket she didn't know how to take, but she couldn't pull away. She wrapped her arms around herself. She wasn't sure if she was shaking from cold or relief. "You really want nothing?" she whispered. Caleb shook his head. "No, ma'am, not from you." The simple words felt heavy. Naya took a slow breath. The sun warmed her face. The air didn't feel tight anymore. Trust was hard for her. It had been broken and smashed. It felt dangerous to hope. But watching Caleb work, seeing his steady hands and silence, seeing he let her choose, something new started in her chest. Not full trust, not peace, but a spark, a start. "I'll stay a little longer," she said softly. Caleb nodded. No smile, just, "Okay." She stood beside him. The world felt steady. The ground wasn't moving. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she knew one thing. This man, this ranch, this morning, there were no traps, no chains, just room, just care, just the promise of a day without fear. And for a hurt soul like hers, that tiny promise was enough to make her stay, at least for now.